I know how this sounds, and trust me, I've replayed every second of that night in my head 100 times. I've questioned my memory, my sanity, even my own photos. But no matter how many angles I try to look at it from, no matter how much I try to make it make sense, it doesn't. So I'm just going to tell it exactly how it happened. Prom was on a Friday night in early May, the kind of warm, pollen-drenched evening where the breeze smells like fresh-cut grass and honeysuckle. It was supposed to be a fun, drama-free send-off for senior year. I hadn't even planned on going. My breakup with Adam 3 months earlier had left things awkward with a lot of our mutual friends, and honestly, the idea of squeezing into a sequin dress and pretending to have the night of my life just felt exhausting. But then I met Nate. It was at Brianna's birthday party, a backyard thing with string lights and a Bluetooth speaker that kept cutting out. We had a bonfire going, half-burnt marshmallows, someone's cooler of off-brand seltzers. Nate wasn't from our school. He lived in the next town over, Fairhaven, and knew a couple of people from cross-country, or maybe band. I can't remember exactly. But he stood out, not because he tried to, but because he didn't. He wore an oversized flannel shirt, dark jeans, and a beat-up pair of black Vans. His hair was a little messy, like he'd just gotten out of a shower and let it air dry. And while everyone else was crowding around the speaker trying to play DJ, he stayed back, quiet, observant. The type of person who only spoke when he had something worth saying. I ended up outside, sitting on the curb in front of the house, just needing a break from the noise. He came out a few minutes later and asked if I wanted company. I shrugged and said sure. We ended up talking for over an hour. About music, movies, where we wanted to be 5 years from now. Nothing earth-shattering, but everything about it felt easy, familiar, like we weren't meeting for the first time. He made me laugh without trying to be funny, and when I talked he actually listened, really listened. When he asked if I'd want to go to prom with him, I didn't even hesitate. Yeah, I said. Why not? The 2 weeks leading up to prom felt like a bubble I didn't want to pop. We texted every day, nothing clingy or over the top, just check-ins, little inside jokes, playlists we made for each other. I still remember the one he sent me called For the Night of. All these dreamy indie tracks I'd never heard before but instantly loved. He picked me up the night of prom in his older brother's car, a slightly dented silver Camry with duct tape on the passenger mirror. I remember because he kept apologizing for how hot it was, swearing the AC used to work fine before his brother took it on some road trip to Vermont. He stepped out of the car holding a small plastic box with a corsage inside, 3 white roses with silver ribbon, like something out of a Pinterest board. He looked at me and paused, just long enough to make me blush. "You look like you belong in a painting," he said. It was cheesy, but somehow, coming from him, it didn't feel that way. At the venue, a hotel ballroom that the school had rented out and tried way too hard to decorate like a midnight garden, we met up with my friends. I remember Liv whistling at me, mouthing OKY when she saw Nate. We danced, we took silly pictures at the photo booth. We shared a plate of chocolate-covered strawberries from the dessert table. At one point, we snuck out to the rooftop. The door wasn't locked, and the air up there was cooler, quieter. The kind of quiet that makes your voice sound more honest. We leaned against the railing, looking out over the parking lot and the faint lights of town in the distance. He held my hand, told me he was glad I said yes. I kissed him, not in some dramatic, prom night cliché kind of way, just a soft, real kiss, like it was something we'd already done 100 times in some parallel life. Everything about that night felt right. But the next morning, everything changed. I woke up feeling like I was floating, that kind of soft post-dream days where everything feels good, weightless. I grabbed my phone from the nightstand and sent him a text. "Last night was perfect. Hope you got home safe, but it didn't send. Just one of those red exclamation points. Not delivered. I waited a bit, thinking maybe his phone had died or he was in some dead zone. A couple of hours passed. Nothing. So I tried calling. The number was disconnected. At first I assumed I must have dialed it wrong. I checked our messages to copy it straight from the last text. Same result. That's when my stomach dropped a little. That kind of quiet alarm that starts ringing before your brain catches up. I went through my photos, hoping to distract myself. We'd taken so many together. Selfies in the mirror, pictures in the photo booth with dumb props. One that Liv took of us slow dancing under the cheap disco ball. Only, he wasn't in any of them. Every single photo that should have had the two of us only had me. Posing like I had my arm around someone. Grinning at thin air. Even the photo from the rooftop. I was looking up, laughing at something, but the space next to me was completely empty. Just a stretch of concrete and railing. I thought maybe it was a glitch. Maybe my phone backed up wrong or something got corrupted. So I sent the photos to Liv, asking if they looked weird. Her reply came fast. Why are you acting like you had a date? You came alone. I called her thinking she was messing with me, but her tone was dead serious. I thought you decided to go solo since Adam was gonna be there, she said. We even talked about it. No, we didn't. That conversation never happened. Nate was real. I could still smell his cologne on the strap of my dress, something woodsy and clean. I remembered the way his hand felt in mine, his voice, his laugh, that slight dimple on the left side of his cheek when he smiled. I reached out to people we talked to at prom, classmates, friends of friends, even the girl who had taken a photo of us dancing. Every single one of them said the same thing. I came alone. I danced alone. No one remembered me ever being with anyone. I even drove back to the hotel that evening. My hands were shaking when I asked the front desk if they had any security footage of the prom entrance. The woman there gave me a puzzled look. We don't keep footage that long unless there's an incident, she said. And nobody matching that description came in that night. I asked if anyone could have come in through a back entrance. She shook her head. Only way in is through the front doors. Ballroom entrance is locked from the outside. The only tangible proof I had left was the corsage. The white roses were still on my dresser in the clear plastic box. A little wilted, still smelling faintly of whatever cologne he wore. I picked it up with trembling fingers and brought it downstairs to show my mom. She looked at the box, then back at me. Honey, there's nothing in there, I blinked. Looked down. Empty. She swore it had always been empty, that I must have imagined it. I tried calling Brianna, the friend who hosted the birthday party where Nate and I met. When she picked up, I asked straight out, "Do you remember Nate?" There was a long pause. Then who? I described him. The party, sitting outside on the curb. She said I must have been talking to someone else, because she didn't invite anyone named Nate. She was sure of it. The days passed in a blur. I barely slept, barely ate. I dug through every contact, every memory, every moment that might offer me proof that he'd existed. But everything kept falling apart, until 3 days later, I found a photo slipped under my bedroom door. It was one of the rooftop pictures from prom, the one where I was laughing, alone, only this time he was in it. He stood next to me, smiling, but he looked different. His skin was paler, his eyes, darker, almost completely black. His smile wasn't quite right, and the way his hand hovered near my waist, it wasn't touching me, it was just an inch away, suspended. No shadow, no contact. There was nothing written on the back, no name, no clue who left it. I've never seen him again. His number still doesn't work. I've searched his name online, asked around in Fairhaven. There's no trace of him, like he was never there. And now the scariest part isn't that I can't prove he was real. It's that I'm not totally sure he wasn't. There's something no one tells you about prom. Most of it is just pressure to look good, to find a date, to post the perfect photos that make it seem like you're having the time of your life. Honestly, I wasn't even excited about it until the week before. I'd been buried in finals, broke, and too drained to care about glitter and corsages. I only said yes to going because my best friend Talia talked me into it. It's our last chance to do something stupid before college, she said. That was her pitch, and somehow it worked. The problem was, I didn't have a dress, and with only 3 days left, everything decent was either sold out or insanely overpriced. So I checked out this old thrift store on the edge of town. Not one of those cute curated vintage spots. This place had flickering fluorescent lights, smelled like wet carpet, and had a permanent layer of dust on everything. But I was desperate. I found the dress tucked in the very back, wedged between bulky winter coats like someone was trying to hide it. Deep burgundy satin, spaghetti straps, fitted bodice, simple but elegant. I slipped it on in the tiny dressing room with the cracked mirror. It fit perfectly. Not close enough or good with a little tailoring. I mean, it fit like it was made for me. Which was weird considering the tag had no size, just a faded brand name I didn't recognize. At the register, the old woman behind the counter squinted at the dress, then at me. "You sure you want this one?" she asked, her voice dry and raspy. I laughed nervously. "Why does it scream haunted?" She didn't smile, just stared for a beat, then shrugged and rang it up. $10. That night prom started out fine. I didn't have a date, but I wasn't alone. Talia and I arrived together, giggling and freezing in the parking lot, our heels sinking into the wet grass as we joined a group of friends for pictures. People complimented the dress. A lot of people, but some gave me strange looks, like they were trying to place me. In the bathroom, I caught two girls whispering. When I walked past them, one froze mid-sentence and said, "Sorry, you look exactly like someone." That's when I started to feel it. That low static hum under your skin, like your body knows something before your brain catches up. I finally pulled Talia aside and asked her what was going on. She hesitated. "Bad sign." "Okay, this is probably nothing," she said. "But the dress, it kinda looks like the one Melanie Kerr wore last year." I frowned. "Melanie who?" She gave me a look. "Melanie Kerr. The girl who died after prom." It hit me then. The story had been everywhere for a few weeks. Melanie had left prom with her boyfriend and died in a car crash on Route 9. The rumor was they got into a fight. She got out of the car and walked off into the woods alone. They found her body the next morning, down an embankment, broken. I hadn't known her personally, but the story always left this weird residue in my mind, like it didn't fully add up, like something was missing. I told Talia it was just a coincidence. Lots of girls wear red satin dresses to prom, but even as I said it, I felt a chill crawl down my back. That's when the little thing started. I was cold all night, not like, oh, the gym's drafty cold. I mean shivering, skin-prickling cold, even when I was surrounded by dancing bodies and blasting music. Goosebumps lined my arms the entire night. Then my phone started acting weird. Every selfie came out blurry or distorted, like my face wouldn't focus properly in the frame, like something was interfering with the camera. One picture even had a double image of me, like a faint echo slightly behind and to the left. I tried to shake it off, but then I stepped away to get water. The hallway by the bathrooms was empty, or at least I thought it was. That's when I saw her. A girl at the far end of the hall, wearing a burgundy dress. Her hair was soaked, dripping. Water pooled on the tile beneath her feet. She was staring straight at me. I blinked. She was gone. No footsteps, no door opening, just gone. I rushed into the bathroom, heart pounding, splashed water on my face. When I looked up, the mirror was fogged, which made no sense. The room was cold. Across the glass, written in faint, wet streaks, was a single word: return. I didn't tell anyone. I didn't want to be the girl who ruined prom with a panic attack. I told myself it was stress, bad lighting, dehydration, anything logical. But the after party made it worse. It was at someone's house on the edge of town, music shaking the walls, people spilling out into the backyard. I went upstairs to use the bathroom. When I came back down, everyone was staring. "Are you okay?" one girl asked, cautiously. "I'm fine," I said. "Why?" She showed me her phone. Someone had taken a photo of me coming down the stairs. There was a shadow behind me, a figure, slightly out of focus, a girl in a wet red dress. Her mouth was open in a silent scream, her eyes dark and bottomless, like someone caught mid-death. I left without saying goodbye. I drove home, dress still clinging to my skin like it didn't want to let go. I didn't sleep. I didn't even change. I sat on my bed until the sun started bleeding through the blinds, watching my reflection in the mirror across the room. Around 6 a.m., my phone buzzed, an airdrop request. From a contact labeled MK. The photo it sent was familiar. A year-old prom picture, one I'd seen in the news. Melanie Kerr standing on the hotel balcony, wind in her hair, a burgundy satin dress clinging to her. My dress, and her eyes looked exactly like mine did in the bathroom mirror, wide, hollow, like she saw something she was never meant to see. I got rid of the dress the next day, dumped it in a donation bin 2 towns over, didn't even look back, but sometimes I still feel it. The cold, and every now and then, when I scroll through pictures from that night, some of them are still corrupted, still glitching, like something's still there, or someone is.